They forgot how great Jayden Daniels really is. That stunning warning is shaking the NFL again. A dual-threat weapon capable of Star Wars numbers. He's ready to punish the league if the Commanders survive the season's biggest test.
On X, quote, Jayden Daniels is still the best quarterback in the 2024 class, so let's dive into that. What would your ranking be of that 2024 quarterback class? 6 first-rounders.
I took a lot of heat for that, too, man. There were some people who were a little hot about that. Look, and I think, look, I would have it like this. Okay, I'd have Jayden still first. I still think he is the most talented in terms of the overall package as far as, you know, his mental horsepower, physical skills, a dual threat passer and a runner. I think he has got it all. Decision making, he's got the entire package. I would have it Jayden, Drake, Caleb, Bo, and then it's interesting here between McCarthy and Penix, man. Because for Michael, it's just about availability, and I believe his career is just not going to ever really be what he wants it to be or that Atlanta wants it to be because of availability and because of the fact that his lower body is just going to fail him. JJ is still someone who I believe, look, his career is not going to be maximized in Minnesota. I think his time is running out there. I think that's going to be Kyler's football team. But really, the debate here, and what really got people up in arms, is the fact that I said that Jayden Daniels is still the best quarterback in this draft. Remember now, in 2024, this is a guy who was top 4 in QBR in the NFL. This is a guy who ran for, 800-something yards. Threw for, this year, I would project, what did he throw for? 25 TDs, had single-digit interceptions. He was at the very top. He had one of the great rookie quarterback seasons ever with a subpar supporting cast.
The greatest.
I mean, with a subpar supporting cast. If he had Drake May's weapons, if he had Caleb Williams' weapons, if he was working with Ben Johnson and he had the kind of people, the kind of offensive line, running back tandem, tight ends, wide receivers, I'm telling you, he'd be putting up Star Wars type numbers because I think the kid is a phenomenal quarterback.
See, and you wonder,
like, it's so far away that I can even understand the logic of not putting guys in pads till like mid-August almost. Now, it'll be before that, but everything is just so late this year that I do think it's going to impact it. You're right, though. Like, so much of the discourse is about the defense and Sonny Styles and what can Nick Cross do and what can Oweh do. Like, all these people they brought in, whether they were drafted or they spent real money to bring in. But, like, you don't want to oversimplify this thing. But if Jayden Daniels plays 15 games as a top 5 NFL quarterback, it's a playoff team, right? I don't know if you saw this. Manti Te'o on Get Up or Good Morning Football on a show said he considers Jayden the most important player in the NFC East. And I just found that really interesting because, like, I think as much as they've tried to build out around him, particularly defensively, with Jayden, like, if Hurts goes down in Philly, that defense is still so loaded, they can still win some games. I can't remember who Hurts' backup is now, but, like, if we've seen Dak go down in Dallas, and that usually kind of falls apart. But they had Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush could certainly beat Washington. Seems to do it all the time. And, like, in New York, you have Jameis backing up Dart. I don't know what Dart is, but in Washington, and I love Marcus, great guy, good backup quarterback. But if you do think Washington, this Commanders team is a playoff team, it hinges on Jayden. Like, it just still remains so quarterback number 5 specific, and hopefully they run the ball a little cleaner. And that helps. And, like, they build this so it's not so Jayden dependent, but he's their best player when he's right. And if he's right, things can go really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the NFL as a whole kind of forgot how good Jayden was his rookie year with all the injuries last year. And, you watch the quarterback series on Netflix, and it really highlights how beat up he was the entire time. But I think when you look at the totality of this offense, it's better than the players around him than he had in 2024. I like a lot of the different pieces that they have, particularly bringing in Rachaad White. I think you look at kind of the back end of the receiver room, and the floor has been raised a fair amount with the Van Jefferson and De'Ami Brown signings. And ultimately, I hear fans who have talked about it and media personalities who have talked about the fact that they didn't do enough around Jayden to bring in talent. But I ask, who could they have brought in? They made a pitch for Alec Pierce. He decided to go back to the Colts. Maybe they could have taken.
I also think the Colts overpaid him.
Sure. Maybe they could have taken Jordan Tyson instead of Sonny Styles, but it's not like there was an obvious upgrade that they bypassed for Jayden. And I think that when you look at what this offense was in 2024, and particularly how it really got moving once this team got late in the season and to the playoffs, there are so many things that this offense can do, particularly with a more balanced attack, with a renewed effort to run the football, with folks that can catch the ball out of the backfield, and a more dynamic tight end who can get you some yak, some yards after catch. I think that the upside of this offense does ultimately rely on the shoulders of Jayden Daniels. And you talked about the other quarterbacks in the division, and I think you could extrapolate that out to the entire NFL. If a starting quarterback goes down, those seasons go in a bad direction regardless. So it almost feels like so much of it is Jayden and whether he's able to keep himself healthy. They took two big swings, and ultimately those guys got more money or decided to go elsewhere. To me, I think the biggest upgrade on both sides of the football is going to be or at least the potential biggest upgrade is going to be the two new coordinators that are coming in. I think what we've seen in minicamp OTAs from David Blau, and I think that's something that I really want to see during training camp, is kind of the progression of this offense and kind of the steps that it's going to take as they start kind of, getting past putting in some more basic type stuff. And particularly, and the biggest place I think we're going to see it is when they start putting on pads, because we've seen defensive players in the right positions at the right times to make plays. We've seen the offense go and make plays during this offseason program, but it's a whole different story once you're able to kind of use your body a little bit more in what you're doing. And I think that particularly with Chikakonko in the middle of the field, and I think also we've seen how physical of a receiver Terry is, where you can throw the ball to Terry McLaurin whether he's open or not, and you can see him go up and make those 50-50 catches. In training and mini camps and OTAs, and when they're not in pads, you're not going to see guys go for those kinds of throws quite as often, because quite frankly, they don't want to see that, those kind of midair collisions. And there's a tempering of that, obviously, once they put on pads, being on the same team and whatnot. But I really think that to me, the biggest upgrade is going to be turning around, putting the ball in the belly of 22 or 1, getting Jayden on the move outside of the pocket a little bit more. Also, some of the movement that we're going to see from those tight ends and wide receivers, getting them open in different places, getting them in some mismatches with pre-snap motion.
They forgot how great Jayden Daniels really is, and that may become the NFL's biggest mistake of 2026. For months, the conversation has centered on Caleb Williams, Drake May, and every young quarterback expected to take the next leap. But somehow, the player who actually delivered one of the greatest rookie quarterback seasons in recent memory has quietly disappeared from the spotlight. Then came the statement that reignited the debate. Jayden Daniels is still the best quarterback in the 2024 draft class. Immediately, fans split into two camps. Some called it outrageous. Others said the league has simply forgotten what Daniels already proved. He threw 25 touchdowns, rushed for more than 800 yards, finished with single-digit interceptions, and looked like a legitimate top-5 quarterback, despite carrying an offense that lacked the star power many of his rivals enjoyed. So here's the real question. Did the NFL underestimate the most dangerous quarterback from the 2024 class? And once you hear why one analyst still ranks him number 1, the debate becomes even harder to ignore. The ranking shocked plenty of people. Jayden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. Not because the others aren't talented, but because Daniels possesses what the analyst called the complete package. Elite processing, explosive athleticism, smart decision-making, the ability to beat defenses with both his arm and his legs. Then came the boldest claim of all. If Daniels had entered an offense loaded with elite protection, better weapons, and a stronger supporting cast, he wouldn't just have produced better numbers. He'd have produced Star Wars numbers. That's a massive statement,
But it's difficult to dismiss when you remember everything Daniels accomplished during his rookie year with far less help. But talent alone won't determine Washington's future. This is where the story becomes serious. Several NFL analysts now believe Jayden Daniels is the most important player in the NFC East. Why? Because Washington simply doesn't have another quarterback capable of replacing what he brings. One prediction says it all. If Daniels plays 15 games as a top 5 quarterback, the Commanders are a playoff team. If he misses significant time, everything changes. Unlike some division rivals with deeper rosters, Washington's identity begins and ends with number 5. That's both their greatest strength and their biggest risk, which is exactly why this offseason wasn't about headlines, it was about protecting their franchise. Many critics say Washington didn't do enough around Daniels. But look closer. They added Rachaad White to create a more balanced rushing attack. They strengthened receiver depth. Most importantly, they handed the offense to new coordinator David Blau, whose system promises more motion, more play action, more designed quarterback movement, and far less pressure on Daniels to carry every drive alone. Training camp will reveal whether those ideas actually work once the pads come on, because that's when schemes become reality. And if everything clicks, the NFL loves discovering the next superstar. Sometimes it forgets the one already standing in front of it. If Jayden Daniels stays healthy, if David Blau unlocks the next evolution of this offense, and if Washington finally gives him the balanced attack he never truly had as a rookie, the conversation won't be about whether Daniels belongs among the league's elite. It will be about why so many people ever doubted him in the first place. And if that happens, the rest of the NFC won't be asking whether Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback from the 2024 class. They'll be asking one much more frightening question. How do you stop him?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.